All right, all right. So it's Tuesday already. Oh my God, the time has flew. And we are back. This is an IME production in black. If I had a little table where I could scratch in blah 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 black 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 black, but I don't. So I'm glad y'all could join us tonight. This is going to be a good one. I am excited about this show. So the topic is questions we ask ourselves. It's going to be an open panel discussion, LGBTQ plus and trans attracted, asking one another questions that we are all curious about. And I'm sure if you're tuning in and you are an ally or possibly even a homophobe, you probably thought we were a monolith, we were some type of gang, and we knew everything about each other, but that is a myth, and you will figure that out tonight. So if you don't know my name, it is down below. My name is Peirrce, or you can call me Peach. Let me do the disclaimer. Everything shared here are the thoughts and views of the panel, not necessarily those of IME Inc., the nonprofit. Let's have the discussion in black. I am going to bring on the lovely panel. I know they are ready. I know they got their questions. Oh Lord. I don't even know if I should be afraid. But so tonight is going to be a little different for our viewers. Before I start explaining, please like and share us all over the place. Share us with your friends, share us into your group, share us everywhere, because we want to get this out so you can gain an understanding of the black LGBTQ plus community. God. All right, y'all. So I am ready. So how this is going to work. Right now, I'm currently in the hot seat. Each panelist is going to be in the hot seat asking their question and calling up a person that's already here on the panel to answer. Same way I do every week, well, the past, what, 2, 3 weeks. So this should be interesting. So I'm going to kick off the first question. Are y'all ready for the first question? It's not going to be deep. I'm always getting accused of having these deep questions, but it's not going to be deep at all. So, my first question is, being that this is an open panel discussion and we are asking questions that we ask ourselves because we really don't truly have the answer. If you had to put it in percentage, how much do you think you know about the LGBTQ plus and the trans attracted communities? For me, I feel like I probably am 50-50 or 60-40. What do you say, guys? I'm going to start out with Andre Zay.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna reverse the 60-40 to 40-60 for me. I'm still learning a lot. You know,
Okay, 40-60.
My number would be lower than that because it's still a lot that I'll be trying to figure out and understand. So I probably would say like, I'm gonna say 25%.
25%. Okay. All right, Stan, you coming up in the hot seat.
I
In
say
percentages.
about 25%.
Uh-oh, you break it up.
Oh,
How much?
about 25%.
25. Okay, that's
Yeah,
honest.
I mean, it's so many different. Everybody's an individual, so there's no set anything. So I say about 25%. There's a lot out there.
Okay. Smack, I'm gonna put you up in the hot seat. How much do you know about the LGBTQ plus community in percentages? What do you think?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, back in the day, in the time, in the 90s, late 80s and the 90s, I would have said, 70%. Now that I'm here in this 2025, I got to say about 50%.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
being real because I learned some things about, that I just thought I knew. As and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but as you add on all the other letters and everything, you have to be educated about those extra letters. There's a lot of extra letters, and you just have to be educated on it. And as of till this day, I'm still being educated, especially the they them thing. I'm being educated on that. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I mean? Non-binary, binary. There's all kinds of new words now. And so, yeah, I'm gonna say 50%.
All right. 50%. Donna, you coming up next into the hot seat.
I'm gonna take it up 10% of what Smack said. I think I know about 60%.
60%. Okay.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
I've been in the community 63 years. I know a lot,
Okay.
and I do a lot of research.
Okay, cool. All right, 60%. Let's see. Kalani, you up in the hot seat.
I don't know anything really. Um, I'll say 20 to 25% maybe because what I thought I know, I didn't know. So
Okay. That's honest. Tim, in the hot seat.
Um, I'm gonna have to agree with Smack. Years ago, I would have said I'm very knowledgeable, but now because there are so many divisions in the culture, I'm having to re-educate myself in order to mingle in LGBTQ society because it's a lot more complicated now than it was, during the majority of my tenure in the lifestyle, and the trend.
Okay. That's reasonable. Are you still there, Tim? It looked like you broke up. All right. So everybody has their two questions.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up top of my head with mine.
Okay.
yeah, I'm
So
ready. Big shout out to Jay. Appreciate you.
Jay said, no worries. I'm still learning and evolving as well, especially mentoring the youth.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's why I said maybe I'm at a 50% range, maybe 50-50, 60-40. I'm comfortable there. I feel like I will never get to 100% because there is always something to learn. And when you think you're at 100%, you're not open to learn anything. So I'll never be at 100. I don't even think I'll ever be at 90, 80. Think somewhere 70% and below. All right. So,
I wanted to say something about the knowledge, all right? And I hope that someone is listening to us on the show. I really respect, I believe their name is Quran. You introduced me to Quran from Philly. I really respect Quran because I myself, a lot of people seem to think because we're, lesbian or, what we are in our community that we know everything. And I accidentally, how do I say it, hun? I accidentally used the wrong pronouns,
misgender.
misgendered Quran, and he corrected me and I apologized and they said it was okay. And I that's just what started off our great conversation. Anything that I wanted to know, I knew I could ask Quran, and I appreciate that respect. But there are some people, while I'm still learning, you feel me, that I have misgendered and they just come off so nasty. So now my new question is, so I don't, if I don't know, what are your pronouns? And we shouldn't have to, do that. But I mean, that's the respectful thing right there. But for those where someone does misgender you, please give us a pass. Don't come at us like you ready to kill us, because people don't know, especially if I don't know who you are. And you know, I'm an old school gay woman, and we were just, you know, my gay mom and dad just taught me differently, and I'm learning the new school way now. That's all I wanted to put out there, because sometimes people can come at you real harsh, and I really don't want to speak to you anymore. I feel like, you know, you don't know what kind of background or how, like, I'm glad you asked the percentage as far as education, how well we think we know. There's stuff being created on a daily. So I just want to put that out there, okay?
Okay. So let's start. Since you're here, we might as
I mean, how
well
you feel
start
about
out.
that?
Um, is that one of your questions?
Well, I can switch it up if you would like. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, let me go ahead and make that a question. So to the panel, um, how do you go if someone misgenders you? How do you handle that situation? Or what advice could you give to someone who could possibly be an ally or just someone from the community, so that they don't misgender you? How would you approach that? There we go. How you like that question?
Sounds great. Who are you putting in the hot seat first?
Okay, I forgot. So when they call me sir, I be like, it's
Yeah,
ma'am. That's all
yeah,
I say.
I
I
get
don't
that.
go, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people think because I dress like a boy, I want to be a man. Nah, 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 nah. So when they say sir, I'll be like, no, it's ma'am. Oh, and if they don't say sorry, ma'am, then I'll keep saying it. It's ma'am, not sir. Then after I say it a second time, because I want to make sure you got it. And if I have to go to a third time, then it's getting nasty. So I'm gonna go ahead and put Stan in the hot seat.
Um, so you asking me about misgendering?
Oh yeah, I don't even know why I'm asking you. Yeah,
Yeah, you should have came to me, Smack.
Have you
I'm
ever been
sorry.
misgendered? And if you just put yourself, have you ever been misgendered? And if not, if you were, how would you handle it?
Um, I've never been misgendered, but um, and if I was, I wouldn't take offense because some, people just don't know. That's just like a light skinned person that can pass for white. You know, um, if they address you and it's and they misgender you, then you just kind of correct them on it. But I wouldn't take offense to it unless they just did it purposely. Um, I mean, yeah. So I mean, I have.
Have you been with somebody who's, you know, like maybe one of your friends that was misgendered?
Uh, not not if they were misgendered, they were misgendered on purpose. By people trying to be
Right.
funny. Not mistakenly that I can recall. Um, I've been my thing is because this is funny. I was at a trans men event this past weekend, and people thought that I was a trans man, that I was a woman at one point, and
Wow.
yeah, that was interesting because it was just a trans men event that I was invited to. So it's people that had assumed that I was a trans man. So I was approached about that, but it wasn't so much misgendering. But somebody just came on and asked me, are you a trans man, or I didn't take it as an insult at all,
Oh,
but
okay. Thank
not at all. But it's just that
it's
it was interesting that they thought that. You know, so.
Hey Stan,
Mhm.
do you got your phone near metal?
Uh-uh.
I don't know. There's a bunch of feedback coming back. I don't know who
I mean,
that
I hear it
is.
coming from you too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hear it on my end too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real loud.
No, I'm not near any metal.
I think it's Stan. Maybe move. I don't know.
No.
Whatever it was, it got quiet.
Can you hear me?
All right.
Yep,
It's
we
still
can
like a
hear you.
static. Yeah, like a static kind of.
Yeah, you might have to mute him. I'm gonna go to Donna next.
Okay,
I'm gonna
I'm gonna
move
put
him.
Donna in the house seat.
Hey, what's up? Well,
All
you know
right,
I've been
Donna.
misgender. I don't know how I got, but like going into the bathroom, I have to make sure I talk so they can hear my voice. As far as like, but I've been called sir. I've been in the women's bathroom and women have ran out the bathroom thinking I was a man. I've had men follow me in the women's bathroom thinking I'm going in the men's bathroom. But other than that, yes, I have been called sir plenty of time, mainly by the older white women and maybe some men. But I'm always getting the sir. I don't know because I don't have a manly face. I got big upper. So I don't
That's what
know.
I be saying. Like I
I
don't
don't know
understand
why
how
I'm
they do
always
that to me either, Donna. I'm like, yo, these is like almost F's. Like, what's the
no.
problem?
Right. I wear men's clothes because I'm comfortable, but I don't want to be a man and I don't want to be called sir. It kind of like it, I laugh at it now, but back in the day, I used to really want to knock some heads in. But I laugh at it now because the older you get, you get more mature and you don't pay that no mind. But yeah, I hate going in the public bathroom because it's hard. It's very hard. But yeah, I get the sirs. I get the sirs all the time.
I'm sorry, I still correct it. I'm not as graceful as you.
Yeah.
I'm correcting these older people when they misgender me. I'm correcting them until I hear, I'm so sorry, ma'am.
I
I'm
have,
going to keep going until I get it. But if I
but
get
I
to the
don't get
third
mad.
time, my voice is on 25,000.
Yeah, I,
Everybody's going to
I
know
don't.
that I'm a man.
Yeah,
So I feel you.
yeah.
I hope I get to where you are one day, Donna.
I mean, I'll say, I'm a woman, but I don't get to the point where I get like confrontational or ignorant and nothing like that. I just say it's okay. I understand. I just let it go. It don't bother me.
Hopefully I get there one day because when I
Okay,
get
you
to the,
will. Hopefully.
you know what I mean, I'm praying I get there.
Okay.
Kalani,
I have, I have been misgendered, especially like early in the transition. Not so much anymore, but early in the transition, I was. And like you said, you correct them and you say, it's not sir, it's ma'am. And what I have discovered though with people, which is so interesting when it comes to trans people, is that even after they have been corrected, if it is their job to offend and their goal to offend, they'll keep doing it. Somebody that's not trying to offend you and somebody that's trying to really understand and really know is not going to continue to keep doing that. You understand what I'm saying? Especially
Yes.
when they've been
yeah,
corrected. And I think we are living in a time now where people just are so offensive just to be offensive.
Yeah.
There's
right.
no point of it. They're just mean and hateful just to be that way. And it used to not be that way. Sometimes when you encounter a trans person or a gay person, if you didn't fool with it and it wasn't your thing and you didn't say nothing, you just kept moving. But now people
Mm-hmm.
feel like they're in a culture where they can just say what they want without any repercussions. And
Right.
so that's where I have the issue.
Uh,
Thank you, Kalani.
You're welcome.
Tim, you in the hot seat.
Um, have I ever been misgendered? Yeah, all the time. Hold on. Maybe it's this fan. Hold on.
No, it wasn't you, Tim.
It's not me.
No.
Because I can't hear it.
I
Yeah.
Okay.
don't hear it now.
Okay. So I'm a stage entertainer and I do drag.
Oh,
So
nice.
outside of me, outside of my work, I'm Tim. Be surprised how many of the entertainers don't know each other's government name. Well, you'll know somebody for 20 years, but you only know them by their stage name. You never know their government name. So people are always walking up to me, calling me by my stage name because that's the only thing they know me by.
Mhm.
So yeah, I get it all the time, and I'm not offended by it. When I put myself into this profession, then I knew there were certain things could come with it that came with it, and she and girl sometimes come with it, even when I'm not packaged as either or.
Okay.
I had to learn that
Thank
with
you.
it.
I appreciate that, Tim.
Uh huh.
Andre and Zay. Zay first.
No, I ain't never been misgendered, but like I got friends and family who are women, but they dress like the men. And when we be in public places, if people be like "sir" or keep saying it, I get offended only because it's like, yeah, y'all wearing the men clothing, but it's still like feminine because it's not really baggy. It still fits your body, and if you can't see big titties, then you just doing it on purpose. Like that's you already know, so you're just trying to figure out what it is. But it's not that hard to tell to see titties on a shirt.
Right.
I'm done.
Not these.
Yeah, exactly.
Um,
I don't even tie mine down. They,
this gonna be an interesting show tonight. I mean, it's the same. I've never been misgendered, but I have cousins who have both been misgendered. They tend not to like to be around me at times because I'm quick tongue and quick tempered. So they learned like I'm going to check you from the door. They're more relaxing about it now. Where if you call my female cousin the guy, she's just like, yeah, all right, And if you call my male cousin the girl, he's okay with it, but or she's okay with it because she's transitioning now. But um, they've been misgendered, and I'm quick tongue quick, so I'm like, that's a girl. She definitely has breasts, and at the time he was being misgendered, you could definitely tell he was a guy. So it becomes an automatic issue with me.
Okay. Well, I thank y'all. Oh, Peach, Queen,
Yes. All right, I'm
you in the
coming.
hot seat.
All
turn it.
right. So I personally have never been misgendered, but I've been around people that have been misgendered, and I feel two ways about it. I feel like if I'm being misgendered, I'm allowed to feel however the F I want to feel. If I'm angry that day and you misgender me and I bite your head off, then that's what you get. If I'm gracious this day and I want to correct you, then I will. But I am allowed to feel how I need to feel. And as far as my thoughts on the person that's misgendering me, well, you know what? You should stop with the assumptions. Don't assume that I am what you think that I am. Ask me. So that is my
But
thoughts on the misgendering.
But what if they ask you and you in one of the bad moods? You gonna come at them
Ew.
crazy.
Well,
So
you
you
gotta
damned
take you
if you
gotta take
do,
it how you
damned
get
if
it.
you don't.
You gotta take it
Okay.
how you get it because the
Wow.
same way you're allowed to function in your
Yeah.
skin, I should be allowed to be able to function however I want in my skin, regardless of me being LGBTQ plus, heterosexual, whoever I am. I am allowed to have human emotion and for
Got
you
you.
to respect it.
But
All
can
right.
can I answer something? Because with the people out in the street, they don't really know me, so they assume. So if I can't really get mad at them unless I tell them and they say I'm sorry or oh I'm sorry man whatever and they correct themselves. But if it's somebody that's close to me and they know me and they doing that to be that's when I'm gonna, come out my character.
Now,
But people out on the street, I don't care about them. They don't know me. I don't, it doesn't bother me. As long as they don't, if they correct themselves, say I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, I thought, then I'm gonna say okay, because you don't know me like that. So, but other than that,
Right.
if it's people I know, yeah, I'm gonna have
Well, I believe in teachable moments. And sometimes you have to jar people for them to get it.
right
And then once they get that effect, then they're a little bit like, okay, before I open my mouth,
to the
let
next
me ask,
person,
because I
right?
don't know what I'm gonna get
yo, they
because
gonna
the
be
last
shaking and
person
shit.
done
They
lost
gonna be
it on me.
shaking.
To
When
the
they
to the
come to
next
you,
person,
Peirce,
Yes,
everybody gonna
because
be
I
shaking,
believe
baby.
in teachable moments, though.
right,
That's
but
the
I'll
Hey,
never
truth.
see them again. I'll probably never see them people again. So it doesn't. It does. It doesn't.
So,
But yeah, I correct them, but I don't get mad.
all
yo,
right. So,
thank y'all so much. This is my second question.
oh, wait a minute,
So,
hold on to it. We doing
oh,
one question round
oh,
robin.
Some
okay,
of us,
got
some
you.
of us ain't even asked our first question.
Huh?
I said some of us ain't even asked our first question. How you on number two?
Oh, I was getting ready to go to the second question. I'm so sorry. I thought we
Everybody
both
done
covered.
answered it.
Yeah, I thought I was answering my second one. I'm sorry.
No,
I
not
got
yet.
another question for y'all, serious
Not
one. So get
not
ready.
yet. So
All
I'm
right.
gonna let Tim ask his first question. You're up in the hot seat.
Okay, this is something that perplexes me. And when I ask this question in different rooms, most of the time it ends in an argument with nobody actually answering the question. So I'm gonna slide this question to our viewers and the panel. Why is it that members of the gay community hate on or throw shade to other members of the gay community just because their way of being gay is different?
Mm.
We all have the right to be here. I see, I'm in male groups with masculine gay men, and I see them hate on anything that's gay and feminine. But that's what you're trying to go home to every night. I have trans friends that'll be interested in a guy as long as he's masculine, but the second that they see anything feminine in him, then he becomes all these negative things. Why does he have to be all of those negative things just because he's not your cup of tea? Why is it that people come at other gay people for not for them not being the gay that they think they should be? Why is it that we can't just respect each other's gay and move on with our day? That's my question.
Who's going in the hot seat first?
Smack.
Why did I know you was gonna choose me? Okay, I've gotten better with this. I ain't even gonna lie. When you are brought into the community, like I had a gay mom and dad, okay, Boney and Tracy. They taught me the ins and outs, okay, and you know, I have learned, and I think the reason why people are that way and why we can I can only speak for the older generation. I can speak for myself being an older gay woman, you know what I mean? You're taught certain things, how you're supposed to look, you know, you know, like for instance, I used to have a problem with
Mhm.
other big girls that were lesbian and not wearing a support bra. Okay. They would be sagging all the way down to their knees. I'm just being real. And I used to, I'm too blunt, and sometimes it would draw arguments. But if you're looking up to me, right, and you're always saying, "Oh, you're the big homie," they used to call me the OG. Well, you don't see my mess hanging down to my knees, and I'm bigger than you. You know what I mean? You gotta wear a support bra. There are just certain things that I was taught at a later age, I learned not to let that consume me. You feel what I'm saying? And I had to understand that there is a age difference in a lot of people, and maybe they didn't have any guidance. And then now with the younger generation, you try to give them guidance, they don't want it. They just want to do it their way. So it's almost like a win lose battle type thing. When you truly find someone who wants to seek you out and get information, and you can give some advice, you'll find them. I'm just being real. Now, the one thing I wish our community could get along together, because I mean we're I see a lot of things, a lot of on social media, and I just be like, man, I wish we didn't portray ourselves that way. How a person is how a person is. We have to learn how to love and respect, because we could do so much more unified than we can separate. My thing is like, Tim, what you were saying, everybody got their cup of tea of what they like in a person, but that person who has that cup of tea and they want their man to be, totally masculine, they have a right to feel that way, but they shouldn't be coming at somebody else because there's something in that person they don't like. Well, somebody else might like that person. So they got to just learn how to respect, you know, the culture, but I've learned a lot in my later years because I was setting my ways on some things, I'm not going to lie. And I'm okay with saying that, I had to learn. And I learned at a later time in my life. And when I say in my 40s, I mean that, because I'm one of them old schools. What I had instilled in me is what it is. And I had to learn how to break that barrier. And I'm a much better person.
Okay, Smack. Next, I want Zay and Dendra.
You're
What
first.
I'm into.
Why do you feel that gay people hate on the way other people are gay?
Oh, well, I don't know. That's actually hard. Sometimes I feel like it be hate towards the other person. They jealous of them, or some people just be misconstruing things like they hate on the next person only because they weren't comfortable with themselves. So they have a problem with the person who's actually comfortable in the skin that they're in, I guess.
Okay, that's a totally different way of looking at it that I didn't even think of. Okay, Dre.
For me, I don't understand why anybody hates on anybody personally. Um, if I had to take a guess, it would be just it's it. I've learned we're to a lot of this lifestyle, especially younger gay or younger LGBTQ IA members are very um, how can you put it? It's
They're
almost
offended
like
by everything.
no, I feel like it's like everything is really based off of the stuff they see on TV and that they've based their life off of. What I mean, everybody wants to be a baddie, everybody wants to be that person, everybody wants to be, everybody wants to have the tea, everybody, it's a lot of it's too much kikiing. And I feel like everybody is very this is what I see on TV as this is how gays are on TV. So this is how I'm going to be. They're not true to their own identity yet. And so, because I know for me, like I wasn't even comfortable with, being in a lifestyle until I got to a point where I was just like, well, why am I not comfortable? So for I think a lot of gay or LGBTQIA members nowadays, I just feel like, especially when it comes to males, it's very I'm not comfortable with myself 100% yet. And I won't say it's that they're homophobic, but they're just not comfortable with themselves, especially the ones that were raised around a bunch of men who always got something to say, and or they've been around that old school black family. And all the cliches come out. They gayer than the punk in Boys Town and all that stuff. And the people get upset because it's like now it's going to be a thing of how do I identify with my family? How do I fit in with this person? How do I fit in with that person? or am I going to now be the black sheep? So I have to portray a certain way, so I act a certain way, and that action becomes a part of their toxicity because they're just not their self.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's definitely a different spin on it as well. Kaylani.
Well, guess I'm about to make everybody mad.
Speak your
um,
mind. Speak your mind. That's what we're here for.
um, I think for me personally, a lot of trans women feel that way. And I'm going to tell you why, because years ago, it wasn't okay to be gay. But then they started opening up different avenues for gay people to be on television, to be seen more. Then we went into that season where it was, okay, you can't be trans. So then now we see more trans women in the media and all that kind of stuff. But we have a problem with the men sometimes because the question is, well, why didn't you just stay the way that you are? Why would you mutilate your body? Why would you do this? Why would you do that? And it becomes like a tug of war of who's better than who. And so I think that problem kind of lies in how you were raised up in the gay community. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like Snap was saying that she had a gay mom, gay dad, that kind of. She had gay parents. I think it comes from what your community was like, how you came up, what you saw, what you experienced, and sometimes you're not educated enough to know, the people around you. So I don't know. But I think trans women have been feeling like that for a long time. I mean, we were at the end of the LGBT. Just saying. Sorry. Not
What you
sorry.
saying for?
I
What
got
I
you saying
in the
for?
fist. I
don't,
got you, Kalani.
I get it though. I get it.
I get it. I love this panel. Woo!
Okay, that's why I picked everybody in a specific order to keep shifting it and shaking it up. Now we're gonna go to Stan.
Stand the man.
Big Stan.
Have my back,
I
Stan. Have my back. Have my back.
I mean, my thing is, I think people that have a problem with other people, that's a personal issue. Um, I mean, people hating on each other in the community. Um, goes back to something I said before. I got gay friends, uh, and they got an issue with me with trans women. You know, I don't understand it, but you know, they have. I mean, and really, I got one friend in particular just really has issues with that because he doesn't understand trans women. You know, to him, is gay is gay. You know, he can wear eyeshadow, he wears makeup and stuff. He has a beard and stuff. But to me, that's just a personal issue. Or sometimes I just think that when we see certain people living their life, their truth, that some people have a problem with that because they are not comfortable doing it themselves. And we see people doing something that we wish we had the confidence to do. So I think maybe that's part of it. You know, um, a lot of times I don't. As I got older, I stopped addressing or trying to figure out people, and because it really whatever matters is just how people are around me and how people treat me and I treat people. So I really don't. You know, that's when people get out. You see all these fights people having, and uh, the things that are going on. So social media has really damaged a lot of people too, and so has reality TV. And so it creates monsters. Um, and what people want to be. That like the trans girls want to be that bitch, so they try to down other trans girls. Um, so it's there's more to it than just why the community is like it is. But I just stay in my lane. That's pretty much it.
So you feel like it's more of an internal issue.
Oh, sure it is. I mean, anytime you got problems with other people, I mean, I can't go and I can't come to your house and have problems about things that you got going on in your house. You know, I mean, you live your life the way you live it, and I can't come in there with. I mean, why would I put my opinion on that? Because whatever makes you comfortable in what you're doing, why would I let that bother me? You know. So, I mean, I could question things because it's different than me, but I can't sit back and throw my opinions on things like that. And I mean, people do that. And the same people sitting back saying, just like the stuff that's going on in this country right now, uh, where people are sitting back because you're different, now you're being targeted. Well, that's the same thing, in the community. You basically targeting people that are think different and look different than you do. So
And that's exactly what it is.
yeah, so I don't, hey, you know what? It's like you come to my house and how I live and what I do, you just come here and respect that. And your opinions are not needed here about how because what works for me ain't gonna work for you. So and that's just something that I don't see. That's another issue. We get into these things where we start letting other people's life affect us. Why would I be concerned about what going on in your house?
Right.
And I got a whole lot of shit here that needs to be dealt with. That I don't, so
Yeah.
Right,
what I'm
right.
saying?
I gotta.
Okay. And last but not least, Peirrce.
You forgot Donna, didn't you?
He
Donna
probably
went in the
didn't.
beginning.
I didn't go yet.
Oh, you didn't go yet?
Uh-uh.
Donna.
Did you want
Let
Donna to
Donna.
go and then I
Maybe
go?
that
Yeah.
wasn't a question for me. I don't know.
Okay, I'll put Donna in the hot seat.
Maybe that wasn't a question for me, Tim, right? You think?
Nope,
But
it's for
I know
everybody.
my daughter did call. I kind of like missed some of the question, but I was listening to other people. But I do just disclaimer. I love my black people. I love my community. I love all that. But when I say we are our worst enemies, we are our worst enemies. And as far as in the community, with like the stud on stud, why they don't understand why another woman want to be with another woman just because they both are very masculine, and now they got the bisexual stud. People have a problem with that. It's just a lot of ignorance and a lot of uneducated people. Just because I'm a stud, I'm not. Who said I'm supposed to be with a feminine woman? I mean, even though that's what my preference, but I'm just saying, if a stud want to be with another stud, why is
Then
it a
it's for
problem? Why do they have an issue with that? Why do they have to down somebody because of what they what they want to do behind closed doors? So I just have a problem with like just the back and forth and nobody respecting each other. Nobody, the community is just messy. I'm sorry. Y'all can hate me. Y'all can.
no.
The community is very messy, and we need to be educated. We need to be more respectful with each other. We need to get along and understand each other and stop ridiculing everybody for what they want to do in their life. That's what I have to say.
I agreed with Donna.
I
Messy,
definitely do.
messy,
That was
messy.
that
Damn,
was
I must have
definitely
been messy and earlier in my life. Damn, but smack. Mm.
Did you want me to answer this?
He said,
you
yeah.
on the panel.
Okay, let me
Hey,
come to the hot seat.
I'm telling you about you.
All right. I totally agree with everyone on the panel. I believe that people that talk about people within the community and disrespect them are totally ignorant. And I think you suffer from internalized homophobia. I think that you have digested everything society has given you, and in your journey to find space in the world, you want to make heterosexual people comfortable and you still want to be able to live your lifestyle. But you have to learn that you are who you are, and regardless how comfortable you make these homophobic people feel or these heterosexual people feel, you are denying yourself. So it's internalized homophobia. You got to get rid of all of those things. You got to just live, be your authentic self. And that is my opinion on that.
I used to be that person, y'all.
Yeah. Uh,
I'm grown. I'm not that person anymore, and I learned that in my relationship that I was internalized homophobic. Am I saying it right, Pierce?
mhm.
But I'm
Oh,
not like
yeah. I
that anymore.
remember we had that discussion of
Yeah, and I
you.
think that come from some of us being sheltered, not getting out and seeing other things. Because let me tell you, like when I first went to Atlanta Gay Pride, I did not have a great time the first time that I went because I seen too many things that I never seen before. And when I went to New York Gay Pride, it was even off the chain. And I didn't have a good time the first time because I was too busy staring and my mouth was dropping because I grew up in a country town and I didn't see those things. You feel me? But now I'm good.
Yeah, you had heterosexual views within the LGBTQ plus body.
Hmm.
That is a very difficult space. And in some people, I think you need therapy.
But it's and some people you do need therapy, and some people because me and Vonda grew up in the same place. I'm glad that I grew up where I grew up because I think I would have turned out a totally different type person if I had grew up in the city. Um, I don't think it would have been healthy for me to be subject to everything that the city has to offer at a young age with all of the freedoms that I had at that time. I think my life would have went terribly wrong. So I don't know. I think some of us our upbringing is what saved us because like a few times on a couple of different shows I told y'all when I went out with my friends while everybody else was tasting the lifestyle, I was in the club on the dance floor and all of those friends that I'm talking about from those times, all of those people are deceased. And I think a part of the reason why I'm one of the ones that are still here is because I didn't dive immediately as deeply into everything as they did in our young ignorance. I think that I would have been one of the casualties along the way if I had lived the same way as everybody lived around me. So in some cases I think it's you need therapy. In some cases I think the morals that are instilled in us is what is our flotation device in the gay lifestyle because the gay lifestyle is a vicious place. I withdrew from the gay lifestyle, meaning I visit. I don't live there because it was more negatives than positives for me in that lifestyle and in that realm and being that close to those people. My life is more peaceful from the outside looking in, going in and getting my taste and coming back out to my life. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes, it does. All right.
Thank you. Great question,
So,
Tim.
yeah, that was a great question. And just to harp on what Tim said, Your moral compass, that's something separate from your orientation and identity. That's from your upbringing. But when it comes to your identity and who you are, you should be able to be that. You should be able to embrace that and have your morals. I think those people Tim was talking about probably was just came up LGBTQ, probably wasn't accepted, but then on top of that, that family structure probably was piss poor. I
Wasn't
grew up
there.
in the
Yeah.
city and I had a lot of morals and I navigated the world with the morals and still was able to be myself. So, but the next question, who's the person with the next question? How about
Trying to get my
look at
phone.
Kalani up here with her questions? I'm interested. What you got going? What's your question? Your
Yeah.
first one.
My phone.
Oh God. All right, my first question. Okay, so I saw a video this week that kind of disturbed me a little bit about it was a guy talking about trans people, and he was talking about straight men and all this. But my question to you guys is, what is your understanding of why someone is trans and why they decide to transition? Like, what is your understanding of that?
I
Okay.
know.
Who you putting in the hot seat?
Um, Let me hear from Andre and then Zach.
Listen to me.
So what we not finna do? I mean, for me, I feel that people are going to be who they are comfortably within themselves. Period.
Mm-hmm.
If I was birthed as a person that I'm just not comfortable being, and I feel like this is, the if I was born a man and I feel like I wasn't comfortable being a man, or if I was born a woman, I wasn't comfortable being a woman, and I found that I find more love within myself as what I feel like I should have been birthed to be, I'm going for it. But if it's something that, you know, I'm just doing for attention or just because it's a fad, then I'm doing it for the wrong reasons. So I do feel that everybody is not called to completely transition. Some people got to learn themselves. I know somebody in particular that I can tell just don't know themselves. In fact, I know a couple people, but you got to know yourself when it's all said and done, and then be comfortable in your own skin, and then love yourself for what you're transitioning to be. In your hands.
Hey, Zach.
Well, I don't know. For me, I feel like some people transition from like one gender to the next because of something that they went through that traumatized them in the life
Mm.
they were in before. So they wanted to become something else. Or sometimes I feel like, I don't know, it's kind of hard. Like for me, I don't knock anybody's thing, but I always be like, if I was ever to be reborn again, I would want to be the woman because I feel like women have a better style when it comes to fashion and stuff, and I feel like when it comes to the men, we ain't got nothing. So I think it just be for like how you feel. I can get pretty and stuff like that. As men, it's hard to get pretty. We can just throw
No,
some
for me,
things on,
baby.
but for the women, it's like it's everything. So I don't know.
An hour on makeup and 2 hours.
Yep. I get my
An hour,
eyelashes
2 hours.
done.
Yeah.
Who takes an hour or
And
2 hours to put
Plug
on
in the
makeup?
eyebrows and everything else.
hey,
Man, you can be ready and
I
they
wear
still
mink
getting
clothes.
ready.
I
Oh
wear mink
Lord.
clothes and I love it.
Who is Kalani? Who are you calling into the hot seat, man?
Since Mac has something to say,
Um,
come on,
man,
Mac.
I had to throw that in there because sometimes I have to tell Peirrce, wake me up when you get halfway through your makeup or whatever. Like I'll get ready. Like it just be too much. Sometimes I'm just being real, you know what I'm saying?
But you want her to look nice, right?
Almost definitely, but I love her natural beauty too. So, just
Yeah,
bring the
wait,
lip
hold on.
gloss
But
and
y'all
come
always
on.
say that. Y'all always
Yeah, I'm
say
for
that.
real. But I mean,
I love.
I ain't gonna lie. I
I love it.
appreciate it when you do that extra. I love it.
Go
Answer
ahead,
But
the
dock
just
it
don't
up.
question.
ask
Dock
me.
it up.
Yeah, don't ask me. I mean, you always look good to me. But.
Answer the question.
All right. So the question is, answer the question.
Oh God.
So, you know, um,
Get a smack. Get a room.
get a room. I'm in my office. I
And
might
we
be
have
here
some
tonight.
available tonight.
I might have to go up and get a blanket. It's cold in here tonight. But um, I think that human beings transition, male or female, because this is just me. I feel that they're not happy in the skin that they were born in. They're not feeling comfortable in what society has said that we are. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel that's why people transition so that they can be living in their truth. Now, there are a couple people that I know who transition because their homie did it. And that's not why you
Mm,
do that.
mm.
Because
That.
they've heard the stories of um, what it's like taking I forget what it's called, the hormones and things like that. It increases certain things or whatever. And then once they've started that process, then they try to, they find out they tired of it. Now they want to go back. And I'm talking from female to male. Okay. I got a couple friends who did this early on. But to answer that, how I truly feel is so that a person can be comfortable being in the skin that they feel they should be in. Does that make sense? I see
Yeah.
you
It
giving
does.
me
Yeah,
that
it
I
makes
see. I
sense.
eyebrow
It was
look.
my answer.
feel the same way.
Huh?
I
I
feel the
said,
same
yeah, it
way.
makes sense. It was my answer.
Oh, okay. We think alike, Tim. You already know.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe that's what they feel trapped.
Wow. Come on, Donna.
Hey, yeah, like I said, they feel. I think that's my perspective of why men turn to trans women is because they feel trapped. They feel that they weren't supposed to be born a male. That they were supposed to be born a woman, and that's why they transition. They're more comfortable in that skin because that's what they feel and that's what's in their heart. So that's my perspective of why I think they transition over, and because they're comfortable, and it's hard. I'll give them so much credit because I know it's hard to deal with people in this world transitioning over into that, especially the women. I mean, the trans men, I don't know too much about that, but I know when it comes to the trans, like TS, anybody know TS Madison? I love
Not
her to death.
personally.
Yes. Yep. Oh,
Yeah.
you do? Okay.
Love T.S. Madison.
Yes, and she's such a beautiful. I met her too. She's such a beautiful person, and she love herself, and she'll let you know, hey, I know what I was, but I know what I am now. So, but I think it's more of being trapped and knowing that this is what I was supposed to be, opposed to what I am.
Love that. Okay, Tim.
Well, my answer has kind of been said already, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Um, from having both trans male and trans female friends, I've heard a lot of different reasons for transitioning, but the most common amongst both was that they just didn't feel like they were born in the right body. They didn't feel like they were meant to be the sex that they were assigned at birth, and they didn't really start to feel comfortable in their own skin until after their transitioning process. Now, that is the most common answer. But I think there are two reasons why people transition. The first is the one that I just explained. The second one basically is for attention, um, especially in the ballroom community and the stage and pageantry community. A lot of the girls transition because of the way that trans entertainers and trans house mothers and trans pageantry holders, title holders are treated. But when they decide, yes, I want to transition because they think this is going to be this fab thing, but they don't realize, like everything in life, it has its downsides to it too, and it has its fights and it has its struggles, and it can be very dangerous. It can be very challenging mentally. It can be very stressful, and not everybody is built for that kind of stress. Not everybody is built for that life. So some people do it because of how they feel internally, and some people do it for attention. And most of those people end up regretting it and then trying to reverse the process years later, or they just become miserable people because they made the decision that they didn't think about thoroughly before they made the decision. Like before you transition, you should look at the men on your mother's side of the family. If they look like truck drivers and bouncers and things of that nature, 9 times out of 10, hun, that's what you're going to be in your 30s and 40s. Consider that when you decide you want to transition.
Thanks, Tim.
You're welcome.
Stan.
So,
Stan.
what? What is going on?
Nothing. Thank
Y'all
you,
are
Tim.
falling like Alicia Keys.
Thank you,
What is
Tim.
going on?
Thanks, Tim. Thanks, Tim.
You welcome.
Tim, can't keep it.
Thank you, Tim.
You welcome.
Oh, Jesus.
Stan. Oh, God.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I gotta go off camera. Oh, Jesus.
My phone is not charging. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stay. My phone's not
Yeah.
charging.
God.
It's
Your
on
phone not
12.
charging all of a sudden. Your phone not charging.
I just need to
Your
take
phone
that
not
little
charging all of a
bit right
sudden.
there
No,
and
I'm saying
save it.
Who is you
it's on
calling to the hot
12.
seat?
Great answer.
Yolanda?
I'm calling Stan to
No, it's on 12 for real. It's not charging.
God.
So if I get cut off, it's not because I want to.
Y'all
My
are
phone is
so
hot.
silly.
Okay, next.
Hey,
All
Stan.
right, Stan.
Um, I
Mhm.
think people transition for different, there's different reasons why people transition. Um, when back in, let's say the 70s and 80s, when I came along, when we partied and we did things, we did it because we partied and did things. We didn't do it for social media pictures and likes. We didn't have social media. So when we hit the clubs and party, we went hit the clubs and party because that's what we did. Now we do things, and I even know people right now that don't even want to go out to a club, but they have to feel like they have to do it so they can say they're out there, so they can show it and post it. Um, we we have changed. We are now living for other people. Now we're not living for ourselves. So when people like a lot of girls, even girls are like now that transition from male to female, it's not because they feel that they're trapped in another body. Back then, when girls transitioned, it was a real transition. Now it's becoming like a toy. They do the
So
whole,
true.
what I'm saying? It turns into a toy where we get all the different surgeries done, and all you're doing it for is just to pose on social media. It ain't even about how you feel on the inside. You could be you're a gay boy that, hey, I can go ahead and get tits and I can do this, but now you become a show, and it becomes a clown show. And so that's what it really turns into, you know. So you're not transitioning because you're saying, "Hey, this is how I feel," you know. You know, you're doing it because of when the movie Barbie came out. Oh my God, how many people sat? All the girls is, you know, you're not living you. You just living for other people, and you living to be accepted. You're getting all this surgery. You're getting the Botox. You're getting the cheek. You know, I hate when I see so many girls with these cheeks that look like got BBLs in their goddamn cheeks. You know, and they know it's not attractive with with exaggerated surgery, but they do it because they become addicted to it, and that's really what it is. It becomes an addiction. It's not, oh, I'm trapped in a woman's body. You know, my man trapped in. It's an addiction you have now, where women that sit and go through uh, transition take it serious. They don't post it. You don't see all that. You don't see the nonsense of that, because the women that do it, they're doing it for a different reason. They're not doing it for likes and just you know it becomes a clown show now. And then the reality TV. A lot of the girls, that whole reality TV thing. When I dealt with trans entertainment, that's really what it turned into. It wasn't about talent no more. It was about being that bitch. I got to be that daddy. I got to be, how stupid can I get? You look at people. We talk about T.S. Madison, and then you take a Sydney Star. You look at what a lot of those girls can do to help their own community in those situations. T.S. Madison has done a lot for the community, as far as, hey, I came from this background, and then she's given a platform. Then you got a lot of girls that sit back and just be, it becomes buffoonery is what it does. They become clowns. They exaggerate things that they do. And like I said, people can do what they want to do. I mean, whatever any girl do, it is not going to disturb my life whatsoever. Because, you got to live it. I don't. But a lot of the transitions and stuff people do, like I say, back in the day, like I said, when we were, back in those days, when you transition, you're not doing it because we didn't have social media. We didn't need likes. We didn't have TikTok.
Right.
We didn't have to sit back doing this shit all day. We didn't, that's all you see. And see, even people when I'm on social media, when I see all that shit all day, I delete it. I delete you. Because there's no substance. You're just a symbol with no substance. And and I'm at a point that I don't want to deal with symbolism shit. So that's all that is. And so and whatever floats your boat, but I don't have to be part of it. So that's that.
Thanks, Tom. Okay, Peach.
Okay, so I have a bit of a different angle than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the trans experience because I'm a spiritual person as a spiritual experience.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that our souls come in as what we are, and sometimes we get placed in the wrong meat suit. And so
Mm.
trans people are brave because they decide that I am not sticking with this meat suit. I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to do something with it, and I'm going to be comfortable. And that is my perspective. That's for the true transitioners. Okay. Everyone else, I think, just like the rest of y'all, attention, um, some type of personal gain. And we all hear of all the detransitioning stories, and it's so unfortunate because it makes the rest of the community look bad. But yeah, I think it's a spiritual experience. I think you come in, you get into the wrong body, you are uncomfortable. Um, and so you just go ahead and do what you need to do to be comfortable while you're here. I don't know about everybody else. I believe in reincarnation. And I just pray that, when you do reincarnate, you are in the proper body again instead of you having to change it.
Yeah.
That's my perspective.
Okay. Can I give my perspective?
Yep.
All right. So I heard everybody, and I agree with some things. Um, I mostly connect more with what you said, Peach, only with a twist of it. And I'm one of the trans women who don't believe I was born in the wrong body. I don't believe I was born in the wrong body. I don't believe, you know, God did anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong. But what he did do was he gave me a mother, he gave me a father, and they gave me chromosomes, and they gave me everything that I needed to be me. So if there's something about me that I'm just not getting with, I should be able to adjust it or alter it. And that's what I decided to do because I felt like my soul and my spirit was not aligned with what I was seeing. So that's where I'm at with it. I do understand that there are some people who transition for the wrong reasons, and I don't really consider them trans. And I'm gonna stop with that statement right there, only because we could really go deep into it, and I would probably be canceled for some of the things that I would say. But that's how I feel personally about my trans experience. It's not that I was in the wrong body. It's just that my body needed to align with my spirit. So that's where I am. But thank y'all. I enjoyed y'all's perspectives. I'm done, Beach.
Uh, all right. So let's see who didn't. Who wasn't in the hot seat yet? Zay and Andre. Are y'all ready with y'all questions? Or we got to get Stan on here?
I know you better get me because I got 10%. Because
Okay.
ain't
Let's
too much.
put Donna on the hot seat. What's your question, Donna?
My phone is hot and burning up. Um. Okay. For me, I wanted to ask the panel. Have they, like, in their process of becoming them, have they lost any family or friends that they were close to, loved dearly, and didn't want to lose? I want to know that. And I'm gonna go with Tim. Tim's funny. Hell. Tim, my boy.
Am I unmuted?
Uh-huh.
No, you unmuted. I hear you.
Okay. Have this is okay. I have lost a lot of family and friends. Um, but most of the friends that I still have are my A1s. So the real ones are still there. But
And
yes, I lost a
did
lot of
they tell
family
you
and friends.
why? Was there an explanation why they left, or did they treat you different, or they just left for?
It's no,
Uh,
it's one day I existed and then the next day everybody moved on and I wasn't a part of their life anymore. It's largely to just the area that I was raised in. That was just normal. Your family shunned you when you did certain things.
right.
So, they found out. They started moving different. I started moving different, and then eventually I moved on. I moved to another state, started a new life, never came back. I think I've been
Okay.
in the last 30 years. I think I've been home to visit maybe a dozen times. So,
Wow.
I just moved on and made a life without them.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go to Kilana. Is that your name?
Kilani.
Kalani.
Malone.
um, I can't believe I'm going to talk about this.
Come on,
Um,
Milana.
this is the first. This is the first time I'm speaking about this publicly. I was married, and the gentleman I was married to, I was his first experience in this community.
Oh.
But his first experience, this was before. This was pre-transition. So when I decided that we're gonna just go full throttle with the transition, I realized that we were kind of moving in two separate directions, and it put a strain on the marriage. And so he's probably the only person that I not regret, but I kind of wish things went a different way. So yeah, he's the
Okay,
only person. Everybody else, see you deuces.
I hear that. Okay, Smack. What's up, Smackity Smack? Smack, you there?
This right, chill. So, repeat your question. Did I lose any friends, right?
Yeah, like like coming into your own, your narrative, your life, how you
Oh,
happy in what
yeah.
have you lost any good friends or major family members?
I lost some, but they all came back once they realized I'm going to be me.
I
Did
hear
it
that.
hurt? Yeah, it hurt with one family member, but eventually they came on back around the corner there. And my best friend from middle school, we finally became friends after we both, went to college and all of that. I guess they had to go through the experiences of life, but did it stop me? Hell no. I mean, heck no. But yeah, I've lost a it was rough when my mother found out. I ain't gonna lie, but we got through it. And it is such a stronger relationship today, me living in my truth.
Yes.
Um, but my best friend in middle school, that hurt when they stopped being my friend, but I thought I could trust them and tell them how I felt. And I guess I shouldn't have put on there that I had a crush on them at the time because I used to go over there and, spend the weekends, things like that. And yeah, that all ended. And we finally reconnected after, we went to college and things like that, had a conversation, but it never got back tight again. You feel what
Right.
I'm saying? I had
Yeah.
already moved on and yeah, like, it's all good. You know what I mean?
She
Mm.
thought you was looking at her butt secretly.
Say what? Yo, man, I wasn't looking at her butt. It's always been personality, how you make me feel, make me laugh, all of that. I wasn't even looking at it like that. Just, somebody accepted me for me, but I hadn't told them the true me, like, hey, I like girls. You know what I mean? It's just not something you just come out and tell everyone. But I think
Mm-mm.
that situation, going through that situation, made it easier once I turned, between 15 and 16 back in the late 80s.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Good question, Donna.
All right. Thank you, Smack. Double trouble. Ray and Sai. Can you answer the question for me?
Um, I don't know about Zay. He'll be back in a minute, but
Okay.
I haven't lost friends or family. Like I've been fortunate. I think low key, I got family members who got stuff to say, but they don't never have enough like balls to say it to me directly. But you know, like as far as my friends are concerned, like my crew is my crew. Like we don't consider ourselves friends. If I call you a friend, first of all, I don't call my friends friends. I call my friends like either bro or sis. Like we never introduce each other as friends because that's the deep connection we have. If I call you a friend, I really don't like you. So I don't really introduce people as friends. I would be like, this is my sister, this is my brother, or you know, this is whatever your name is. So you know, I don't have that friend category. But as far as like the people I have grown to love and have adopted into my family, we still the same. We act up, we cut up. They can't wait to meet Zay, because I post so much with us, especially when we're like out on the road. And then my family, they love me regardless. They don't have an option. Um, but you know, they love Zay. Like I said in a previous show, you know, they look for him. When I come through, the first question they ask is where's Xavier? So I think
That's
that's a blessing on my end. Um,
okay. Okay. Thank
yeah.
you.
Zay, you answer?
Yeah.
You want to come out and answer?
Now I'm trying
Here you go.
I'm just trying to be back right now. I mean, I lost probably not family, but I had friends. I lost some friends before, but that's only they was females and they had sons. So we stopped being friends because her perspective of the gay world is if my child was ever gay, I'll disown him because I didn't raise him to be like that, and I didn't know that you can raise your children to like.
Right. Exactly. Makes no sense. Okay. Who's next? I think Stan. Is Stan there? Stan, you answer the question.
Um, no, I never lost any friends or anything because of it. Um, no, never lost friends. Um, people that my friends that around me, it wasn't based on lifestyle, just based on me. You're a good friend, and you're friends with ever you. And that's the same with any friends of mine. I don't base them on what they do. It's just hey, we friends. So no, I've never lost friends. They may have had questions about things with me, but and then the ones that had questions would ask me, But other than that, no, never
Okay.
lost friends and had issues with that. It was just I'm just staying. I was always staying, and that's how
Yeah,
it
Stan. All right. Thank you. And next, Peirrce. You know, Peirrce. You the save the best for last.
Oh man. Oh, okay. So did I lose people? All right. So when Vonda jumped me into the LGBTQ plus community, it was kind of rocky. I almost lost my freedom because I was about to be placed in Rockford
Wow.
because of my choice. So yes, I did. I lost a whole husband and I lost a whole side of a family coming out. And in the
Wow.
process, they tried to make me lose my freedom. They tried to take my children away from me. They tried to um, take my money, my home, all kinds of stuff.
Wow.
But I fought and fought and fought, and I'm better for it, and it's because of those experiences that I was able to create a nonprofit to help other LGBTQ plus people because I can only imagine if you're not as strong as I had to be in the moment, I don't know how people survive because again, everything was almost taken from me.
Wow.
So I know Vonda wants to say something. Go ahead, Vonda.
I did. Number one, can you stop that crackling noise? It's tearing me up down here. But
That's
I ain't jump you into nothing. I jumped you for real.
yes, you jumped me into the community.
Oh no.
And then I
Yo,
went
darling.
wild and crazy, and then I had to break free from everything. I had to break the bonds. So I hope that helped. I hope I answered your
Thank
question.
you. Yes. Thank you.
She ain't jumping. I
Thank you,
ain't jumped
everyone.
nothing.
Always Smack always in the hot seat.
She jumped me, bro.
So
Oh,
did
God.
everybody answer Donna's
Yes.
question?
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
All right. So, but yeah, in all seriousness, my ex-husband took me, he drugged me through hell trying to stop me
Mm,
from going into the community, but it
wow.
didn't work.
Right.
All right. So, who has the next question? I think Stan has some questions. Let's put Stan up. What is one of your questions, Stan?
Well, I really only got really one question, and this is out there. Um, like I said, I was at a all trans men event this whole weekend, past weekend, and my question is because even though I was around the whole situation for uh, for 3 days, I never I never asked these questions. So, what is it between trans men, studs, uh, lipstick lesbians, and then the amount of trans men that had trans women wives? And my question was even with sexuality, because you're a trans man and you're a trans woman. So who's the man? I didn't ask these questions, so I'm going to throw this out here to this panel. And I'm going to start with you,
Um,
Kalani.
uh,
And would you date a trans man? And I mean, if you have the experience you had. Because, let me finish. I talked with the trans women that dated trans men, and it was never a good situation. But then I met two people that had a beautiful family from a trans man with a trans woman. So, but Kalani, I'm gonna start with you. Trans men, are they are you attracted to them? And you know, is it because you trans, they trans? Do they you have the genitals? They don't. So if they're a man, who's the man? Who's the woman? Who tops? Who bottoms?
Stan, that's
Wow.
12 questions.
I
Well, let me start here.
I'm glad
okay.
somebody said it.
That was a lot, but let me start here. The whole top bottom verse thing won't apply to me because I've had SRS, so that wouldn't apply to me. Secondly, trans men, I have been approached by maybe one or two, but as you get to know each other, it just was not my thing. It was just not my thing. So I can't really speak on it because I don't. And I didn't, even if we're talking pre-transition, I probably wouldn't have been into it either because I didn't use that. So me getting a trans man pregnant is crazy. That's crazy to me. Just my opinion. Don't shoot me.
No. This is why I'm asking it, because my thing is, if but you had the surgery and then uh you got trans men that don't have surgery. So what was the attraction to it? That's all I'm saying.
Nah.
So it's a question, and it's not
Yeah, nah, fam. Mm-mm.
okay. So I'm gonna ask Donna next.
I don't know no trans men. Um, I would say most trans men, like I said, I guess some of them don't have they still have their woman part. So
Right.
I've heard some trans men that like to deal with men, regular men.
Yeah.
Um, um, at one point when I was younger, I thought about transitioning because I was tired of being called dykes and all this stuff. At one point, I was at that point, but I never went through with it. But I don't know much on trans. That's like my percentage of not knowing too much about trans men and what they like. I don't know if they like straight women or I don't know nothing about. I don't know that. So I'm sorry, Stan. I'm out of this.
See, this is what I find interesting because this is the thing now. I
I don't
can
know
I,
nothing.
I can talk about trans women, and then we got all these other terms, butch queen. We got things like the femboys.
Mm-hmm.
But my thing, okay, so the whole thing was you had trans men, and they had cis women as wives, and they had trans women as wives. I personally didn't go asking questions, but I think I'm comfortable enough that I'll be
Yeah.
at another event, and on the 19th, they invited me back to another trans men event. Um, well, I think I will ask some questions,
Yeah,
but
as a trans man, would they date a lesbian?
well, they
Average.
don't consider themselves lesbian.
There there
That
are
I
some
know,
out there like that.
and
I could probably answer this question.
yeah,
Yeah.
my
Yeah,
okay, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Don't call on me to answer this question because yeah, I'm just not ready to answer it. I might offend somebody.
I mean,
I
And
didn't
yeah,
I
the
know.
don't
whole thing
want
is
don't
if you
I'm
if
just
you offend
saying.
somebody,
And I feel like I have.
Tim, would you like to answer it?
Kim,
Okay.
don't do it. Don't do
Um.
I mean, why is that
But
such an issue where you all can answer my question? Because
We
but I
tried,
was getting ready
Stan.
to answer
Tim,
it.
we trying to I'm
Everybody
just trying
talking.
to understand it, brother.
We don't
That's
know a
all.
trans man. I don't know nothing.
Because I know
Uh,
two trans men that go
well,
together.
okay, so if a trans woman goes from a femme and they transition into a woman, that's understood. But then a girl transitions to a lesbian that becomes more masculine, and then decides to be a trans man. You guys don't know nothing about that.
So
I
I
mean, come
so
on.
I so
Can I say
can
this?
I say something?
Go
Because
ahead.
I cannot say something because I know all of the above. Meaning
Okay.
either I've been in situations with some of these people or I know couples who consist of some of the couples that you're asking these questions about. So first things first, when you have a trans woman and a trans man together, that's technically a heterosexual relationship.
Basically, if they still, yeah.
Regardless of what they've had done externally,
Hmm.
when you have a trans man and a trans woman together, that's a heterosexual relationship. That's number
Thank you.
one.
Thank you.
Number two, there are some people who have attractions before they transition, and just because they transition, that doesn't change their attraction. Some trans men have had attractions for butch queens and cis men before they transition. So after they transition, that attraction doesn't change. It's still there. That's why sometimes you will have trans men having sex with cis men or butch queens. It's the same thing with trans women. Some women, some trans women have attractions for trans women and feminine boys before they transition.
And
So after
lesbian.
they and lesbians.
Yes.
Now here is a thing that is very common in Philadelphia, and that's the trans men and the trans women having kids and having families. And I know a lot of couples that are raising kids. And then some of the relationships, the trans woman is called mommy and the trans man is called daddy. And in some of the relationships, the trans man still represents mommy to the child
Mhm.
and the trans, yes, and vice
Right.
versa. That's
Right.
still dad. So
Right.
it varies from couple to couple. Some people have these attractions before they transition, and just because they transition doesn't change their attraction. It changes the tools that they have to work with. So that's why sometimes you'll see a trans woman who transitioned and she has the bottom surgery, and then you'll see her with a lesbian, and you'd be
Mhm.
like, why would she? Because she already had attractions for women before she transitioned, and just because she has a vagina now doesn't change the attraction that she had before she transitioned.
Yeah,
Did
Okay.
that
because I
help
got
you
hit on by
understand?
some trans women before.
I'm
So I
sorry.
know. I said I've gotten hit on by trans women before. So I know they like
Okay.
lesbians.
Right. See, everybody really has to get off of this mindset. If it's feminine, it's submissive, and if it's masculine, it's the aggressor. Because a lot of times in our community, it's the complete opposite. Like
Indeed.
these straight guys and these straight guys that are dealing with these trans women are not dealing with these trans women because they want to swing some pipe. They're dealing with these they're dealing with some of these trans women because these trans women have an attachment that their wives and girlfriends don't have.
Thank you, Tim.
You welcome.
Yeah, the trans woman I was hit on, she was a what you call a dancer
Okay, and that's
or whatever.
and I met a couple even that a trans couple where she was dating a trans man, but she topped the trans man because she's a top trans girl, so she only top. So when we were talking, she was
Mhm.
like, "Oh, I don't bother for nobody. I'm a strict top." And my wife is a trans man. So my thing, okay, so if if like I was talking to a trans man that kind of like approached me with something that I didn't pursue it any further because even though he had a pretty face and a nice little beard and still had the vagina, I just had mental issues like, okay, I can't do this. Only, because, okay, I can do this, but, okay, I date trans women, it kind of fucked me up a little bit.
But even though they say trans women, you do some of them are
Open
still
people.
considered men. They just identify as a different thing. Does that still not make it um would that does that not turn you on still?
Well, no, because if I date a trans woman, regardless, um, I had a bad experience with a trans woman that has the bottom surgery. Um, that was not a good experience for me, and um, so I date trans women for a particular reason. If I date, if I'm with, I won't date a trans woman that has surgery. I don't do that, but like I said, when I saw the girl said, "Hey, I'm just a top. I don't bottom," but yet her husband was a man. That's the top. So I'm not, look, I'm not messed up
Can I
about
answer
bringing
this
anybody.
question? Can I answer this question?
Yeah, I mean, it's just a question.
Andre, did you want to answer this question?
I can I on.
That would be an
Okay.
absolute not.
Okay. So here's the thing with Stan. I think I kind of understand what you're saying. All right, when it comes to the trans community, from my understanding, your identity does not dictate your sexual orientation.
Okay.
So if I transition to become a woman and I'm a trans woman, I'm a woman. I can be a lesbian, I can be a bisexual woman, I can be a pansexual woman.
Mhm.
If I transition to be a trans male, then I can be a gay man, I can be bisexual, I can
Mhm.
be pansexual. It has
Right.
nothing to
Right.
do with what I'm doing in the bed.
Okay. So that's what I'm saying. So I'm not. My whole issue is that takes us back to these labels and titles and these labels that we have, and we put ourselves in categories. To me, it don't matter. I
Right.
could date a trans woman that's a bottom, that's a top. It don't matter to me. I don't put categories on it. And that's what the whole question was basically, is just asking you guys about the categories, about people doing things. To me, I could care less about a lesbian, whatever. Hey, whatever rock floats your boat, I have no issue with that. That's all I'm talking about. And that's what my question was, because I
You
dealt
got us
with,
all thinking on that one.
right, but
I
I was
think we
around a
pretty
whole
much
group of people it was a whole different group of people with categories. And that's fine, because if whatever makes you happy, because how I think cannot make you happy, and my opinions can't make you what you are. It's only you. And if you allow my opinions and my thinking, and you take what I say into consideration, then there's a problem with that, because if you have to sit back and wonder how Stan thinks about me, then there's a problem with your security. So, you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So my thing was, these are just things that I saw. I threw the question out there just because I want to see just the mentality of how people think. But hell yeah, and I'm gonna tell you something. I dealt with so-called studs and been around them, and then around the trans men, and the trans men seem to be more like mellow and secure and not confused. Well, I knew like a lot of, and I hate using the word stud, and I don't want you all to get mad at me, but I see studs more aggressive, more angry, more possessive.
oh
You know,
Lord.
you know what I'm saying? And I saw these things. But when I see a
I
trans
mean,
man, I see,
not
you
just
know what I'm
the.
saying? I mean, I'm gonna throw it out there. It's my opinion.
I hear you. You got. That's what you have to do.
I had
I'm not angry.
there was a lesbian couple on my block, and she was dating a very pretty femme girl. What I guess you call them lipstick lesbians,
Yeah.
and
You want to
she
call
be
them
sitting outside till 2 in the morning waiting for her to pull up. And as soon as she pull up, she started beating the shit out of her ass.
Oh
Yes,
Every
wow.
day?
and it was like it got to the point it got on the
What?
news. But the thing is, that you wanted a pretty woman, and that's what you want. And when she was going out, that's how you
Wow.
met her going out. It's just I see these things, but all I'm saying is basically, like I said, I saw a whole community this past weekend. Well, I seen trans men with trans women, trans men with cis women. I didn't see there was no studs and things like that. It was a whole different thing that I saw.
Okay.
And I'm going to be in Little Rock next week because they invited me to this other event, and it's a
Hmm.
whole trans men event. But I'm gonna tell you, I was, for the first time being around the community. I wasn't. I didn't feel a lot of stress around.
Okay. Because you
When
was around a group of men.
okay, There you
That's
go.
what it was. Trans men are men. You were with a group of men.
So let me ask Donna. Donna,
Yes.
so is that the case?
Donna is not a trans man.
What?
No, I know she not.
For what?
I want
Like
her. I
what?
just
What? Studs being angry
yeah.
and nah, not
Okay.
me. I'm not. I'm not in that category. I'm nah. I don't beat up on my
What
women.
about you,
Nah, me
Smack?
I don't even
either.
put my
What
hands
about
on them.
Smack?
Nah, I don't get down like that either. I don't. I feel like if you got some and I hate labels. Okay,
Okay.
I'm right there with you, Stan. That's why I rock with you. I hate
I hate
labels.
labels. Yep.
I hate them. And so, if you gotta beat on your woman, you don't love her. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. How can you beat on something that's so precious to you? You know, you treat her like a queen. You treat her like a queen, like a jewel. You gotta put your hands on her while y'all together. You
I
gotta
mean, I
be
could be in a club and then
that.
I could be in a club and then the girl would be with her girlfriend and so she's out partying and she might want to dance and say, hey, dance with me. And I'll dance with her. And then that stud come around ready to beat my ass. Like,
Mm.
They come
and I
around like
Oh,
that.
that's crazy.
That's
oh
because
man.
they got some insecurities. They
Insecure.
got some insecurities within themselves.
Okay.
You feel me?
Maybe they want
All
to dance
right,
with
we
you,
got to
Stan.
get to a part two of this. And let
Okay.
Andre is saying
Stan, she want to dance with you. That's why she get me.
No, it's like your girlfriend was like dancing with everybody. They pulled me on the dance floor, and then a friend come up with and she come up there like yo, like ready to fuck me up. Like
But she want to dance with you,
no, she
Stan.
All
didn't.
right, it's time for Zay and them to get
All
their
right, y'all.
portion in because we already at 10 o'clock.
All right, I threw my question out there, so that was.
You do
That was
count. We done
a
answered
whole
it.
movie, Stan.
I mute the mic. That crackling driving me crazy.
Who was that?
All right, Andre and Zay, we don't hear you. Y'all on mute.
Oh yeah, I know. I I wasn't necessarily speaking to the panel, but I don't know. So I guess my question would go refer back to when we was talking about the whole losing friends and family over your sexual preference. Do y'all think
Mhm.
as someone's parent to be in that community, it's right or wrong to disown your child based on what they like?
I think it's wrong because that child didn't ask to be here. Number one, that child didn't ask to be here. Number two, you made the decision as a parent to have that child. That's your responsibility. Until that child turns 18, you do what you have to do to keep that child safe. Make sure they fed, make sure they got a roof over their head. Now, there are different kinds of kids, though. There's some types of kids that keep it respectful while they're in their parents' home. And then there are the other type of kids that are rebellious. But then we have the extreme gays. The extreme gays do everything in their power to give their parents heart attacks 24 hours a day because they're gay. I'm not saying that it's right to put your child out of the house, but some kids make it easier for the parents to get tired of them than others. If you know that you were raised in a Christian, Muslim, Catholic, etc., etc., etc. household, then you know that certain things are not going to be tolerated under your family's roof. When you were a child, you feel like you are entitled to certain liberties growing up as a person, and that is true. But as you are in search of all of these liberties and entitlements, You got to realize whose roof you living under. And if Linda don't like this and Linda don't like that, you don't do that type of stuff while you under Linda's roof. You wait until you under your own roof and you do those things. And sometimes us as gays, we go ahead and we push the envelope anyway, and they push our ass right on out the door. Just like they have a responsibility to protect you and provide for you, you have a responsibility to mind the rules of that household until you're able to get out and get a household of your own. And I think that is a mistake that a lot of gays make while they're still in their families' homes. Yes, you have a right to be yourself. Yes, you have a right to be gay. But if Mr. Frederick don't play that shit, don't do that shit while you're under Mr. Frederick's roof. Get yourself together and get your own shit. Then you can do all the things that your LGBTQ tells you to do. I mean, am I making sense?
Yeah.
No, that makes total sense.
Okay. So some of us make it harder than it has to be necessarily on our own selves. But we
Right.
don't see that when we're kids. We don't see that when we're kids. Did I answer the question?
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah, you did answer the question.
Look at that.
It's probably I probably would want Peach to answer that question second.
All right. So the question was, is it okay for a parent to not deal
Disown
with their
based on their sexual preferences.
all right. I have a LGBTQ plus child. I would never disown her. My family is open to LGBTQ plus people. In fact, I think they like us more than they like straight kids for some reason. So, but do I think it's right or wrong? This probably gonna sound crazy. I agree with Tim. It is our responsibility as a parent to raise our child because we brought them here. But I don't think that we get to dictate how people feel. So, yes, raise me, feed me, protect me, make sure I'm safe, but don't dislike or disown me for who I am. But I cannot make you accept something that you really don't accept. So I would have to agree with Tim. Once you did what you needed to do for me, and I'm 18 and I'm capable of taking care of myself, then I need to go out on my own and establish my own life and live my own lifestyle. I often say to LGBTQ plus children, before you take that leap to come out, make sure you can afford your life.
That's
So
it.
that's my perspective of it.
Yeah, I
Is it
can say that
right?
too.
Who am I to say what's right or wrong? That's just like I feel like I'm right for being LGBTQ. Someone else feel like I'm wrong. You can't do that to a person. However they feel is what they feel, whether you're their child or not. But I do think they have a responsibility toward, the basics, the minimum for their child. So
That's
that's my
right.
opinion.
All right. Let's put Mac. Mm-mm.
Mm, mm, mm,
I heard that.
mm.
I heard all that.
So, um, I agree with everything my queen said. You know, one of the things when I came out, I wasn't ready to come out, but I got tired. Like let me say this: like I got tired, and I came out when I was 16. I got tired of being called a bull dyke, and I said, "No,
Yeah.
it's lesbian," and that's how I came out, y'all. I'm just keeping it real, and I crushed my mother. And it went into I didn't raise you that way. And it was my conversation with my father who said, "You're still my daughter and I still love you. You still need to be loved, and I'm here to love you." So, as I look at what I went through in a small town that you just don't come out like that. I felt good after I had that conversation with my dad. But like Peirrce said, you have to make sure that you can support yourself, because at that time I was given sort of like an ultimatum. You can't stay in my house and be like that. Will you expect me just to change? I've been like this all my life. Y'all just didn't get it. You just thought I was a tomboy. But no, I really like girls. You know what I mean? And so that's why I went to stay with my gay mom and dad. Um, and that's where I stayed. And it took a couple years for us to get back where we needed to be, my mother and I. So I say all that to say is that I feel like our younger generation needs more education. Maybe the people that they're looking up to get that advice aren't giving them very good advice, because I'm hearing more and more stories of young people thinking it's time to come out and not knowing that it's not the right time if you can't support yourself. Because the last situation I heard, dad's a pastor, mom's the first lady, and you're the only child, and you decide to think like you're grown now, but they're providing a roof over your head, food in your mouth, and you decide to let them know that, hey, I'm gay, and they told you to get out. And then it was left up to resources within the state, because you were still in high school, to make sure that you were taken care of. And I feel like if that young man had the right people in his life, or we had some other resources within our communities to help our young people so that they can understand financial literacy, so they can understand what it really costs to be out on your own, and your little Chick-fil-A job is not going to do it. You know, so yeah, I feel like there's a right time for you to come out and let your parents know. But I also feel as though parents need to be more observant of their children. And if you see something, have a conversation. You should never turn your back on your child. You should never try to whip something out of a child when they feel that way. You can't whip it out of them. I be hearing that all the time. Black families, mainly is where I hear it from. I'm going to whip it out of my child. Really? I just don't get that part, because what they're not understanding is not about you raising, it's a feeling. They have to get over their own myths, their own stereotypes that they believe, and understand you brought this child into this world. Communicate with your child so that you can understand how they feel. Not all the time that somebody's in the LGBTQIA community is that we were touched. We spoke about that in another show. Talk to us. And if you have that type of relationship with your child, you'll get to learn a whole lot more. You should be your child's best friend. They should be able to come and tell you everything that they're going through. I'm sorry, I get real passionate because I just know too many stories, young people, parents turning their back on them.
Right.
And it's sad. And I hate to hear a parent talking about, I'm going to beat it out of them. I used to be on Facebook telling them, come beat it out of me then. You know, that's when I was a little bully. You know what I mean? I'm not like that no more. But I used to, we need to educate parents more. And they should be our biggest ally.
Gotcha. I like that answer.
I think she spoke for everybody.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
She hit
get
all.
passionate.
That's a good
Yeah, I
thing.
like that. Andre?
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, you know, for me, a parent job is to make sure their child understands what love is at all times. I don't care who you are. to the pastor, I would have responded with a pastoral question. Um, but it's to me, I feel like if you can't exemplify love, then truthfully, like in my eyes, you're not equipped to be a parent. And so if you are willing to put your child out or disown your child because of their choice of a lifestyle, then I feel that you were never equipped. You were never called to this first ministry of parenting. Um, period. That's my answer.
Who's next? Oh, Kalani.
I'm gonna clip that, Dre, and I'm gonna be sharing it all over social media.
I'm gonna make it short and sweet, hopefully. I agree with what's been said. I think that on the flip side, when you come out, there are different ways to come out, and there's a graceful way to do it. Secondly, when you're under somebody else's roof, you have to abide by the rules of that house. So, and I think this generation thinks that it's okay to just do what you want and we just supposed to take it. But if you know that that's not what they believe, that's not what they are going to agree with, then you probably should kind of tone that down or wait to come out. I think as far as the parents are concerned, in the Black family and in the church, religion, and all of that, we have been taught to suppress things and lie about things, cover up things. And a lot of times, I'm a very spiritual person, so I believe that a child is a reflection of you. And some of the things that they have hidden, some of the things that they have not been open about, some of the things that they have not sat down and been honest about. And you're just seeing that play out in your child. And so I think that we need to have more discussions in the Black home. We need to have more discussions in our communities, in our churches about sexuality and gender identity so that people are educated, not just with the knowledge of the community, but what's going on in the family. Because there's a lot of things that have happened that people don't talk about. And then you sitting there thinking that you're the only one that has dealt with this, and it's right there in your house. So that's my answer. When you're under somebody else's roof, you gotta abide by those rules. If not, go find you a mortgage, go find you a lease.
Or a roommate.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
That. Donna, do you have a different view or Steen?
No, I agree with everybody what they said. It all makes sense what they said. I can't see a parent putting their child out to fend by for themselves in this cruel world, and I don't see how they can live with themselves knowing that their child's out there in the street fending for themselves, especially when they got a job. Even if they don't have a job, money, or any other family they can turn to. I just think that is, and like they said, sometimes you just gotta play the game and stay in the house, do what you got to do, and then when it's time for you to leave and make the moves, then you come out and you let everybody know, hey, this is me.
Yeah.
Religion got everybody screwed
Yeah,
up.
pretty much. Because I feel like when it comes to like I understand it say like you're supposed to do one thing and live by another, but I feel like sometimes the religious people take it a little bit too far when it comes to being your true self.
Yes, yes, I agree.
Does Stan have a perspective?
You know, and there's a way coming out. I mean, there's no, like, my situation, I never had to sit down with my parents and talk about coming out, or my friends. I just, you know, live my life, and what you see is what you saw. You know, if you like, you're my friend, you're my friend. But then on the other hand, I dated uh, girls that had to leave out, that wanted to dress as women, and they had to go out to do it, and then had to transition back to male to go home. You know, so those are situations that um, I really I understand those kind of situations. And those are very difficult situations for anybody to be in. You know, I never had to be in that situation because, like I said, even dating trans women or even with femme boys, I never asked people for permission to bring anybody around. It's like if I'm invited to a family function, they was with me. People you just see it, and so I never created a situation. Sometimes we'll sit back and build up a situation, and we'll make a problem. So sometimes we don't have to make a problem. We can just sit back. Hey, this is what you just do it. But I understand how people come from households that can't live their way, and if they did, they got to be prepared to leave. I'm very sympathetic to that, very much so. So there really ain't no way to come out. The only thing is just come out, and then you have to deal with what the consequences are. It's unfortunate that religion really, it's very unfortunate that we have religion like that. And I'll make this real quick. I had a good friend of mine that when I was teaching school, he was a teacher, and he got molested by a priest. And my whole thing was, why didn't you ever tell your mother? Because it was something that he was living with all his life. And he said, "Are you serious? If I sit back and talk about Father Fitzgerald, my mother would beat the shit out of me for jamming his name." So the mother knew her son was being molested, but because of religion, it was accepted. It's some crazy shit. And yet her son was molested by this man, but if he spoke and say, "Hey, Mom, this man has been molesting me," she would sit back and beat the shit out of him because you speaking ill of his name. And he lived with this. I mean, this is it's a lot of shit out here. So so I'm very understanding to everything that people go through. I don't throw my opinion on it, and I understand because we all got situations and issues, and I'm not gonna sit back and damn you and it's we all got these things, and we need to understand. Everybody needs to understand other people's issues, and I'm very understanding that everybody's things that they've gone through. And I wish we all could be that way. I just
Chill.
I'm really pro community and pro mental health and everything we could do because, like I said, I understand what people go through and I sympathize with that, and that's one reason why I'm a good friend to a lot of people because I'm not judgmental, and because I got friends that are very judgmental, but I'm not judgmental, and I respect everybody and what everybody's gone through, and I try to understand it.
Thank you, Stan. So we are at the 10:13 mark, y'all. So we're gonna have to do a part two
Yeah.
so that we can ask our second questions.
Dre didn't
But
ask his first.
I was
did
just
Dre have one? Okay.
All right, my question real fast. Since you've been out, what is the biggest life lesson you learned? Real quick.
Ooh, that's a good one.
about.
Who you calling in? Donna? Who's calling in?
Hot seat. Let's go with Smack first.
Oh my
They love you, Snack.
man. The biggest lesson since I've been out, everything that look good ain't good for you.
All right, Kaylani. She back it up. She learned that same lesson.
I got a story, but we
Where's
ain't
my
got time. I got a story.
We got time. We got till what, 10:30?
Okay. Smack.
Everything.
I love that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying you can't always. I changed how I,
Mm-hmm.
like what I'm attracted to. I used to always go for the light skinned girl with the pretty face, but when it got time, and I'm
Hold on,
just
you want a
being
light
What
skinned
you
girl with a
trying to
pretty
say?
face?
I'm ugly or
no 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 no
something?
no
What the
no
hell's
no
going
no no
on?
no 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 no. I like all shades, baby. You're beautiful. You're just right for me. I tell you, you're beautiful all the time. So stop that.
So if the
But
woman with the
Clean it
light
up.
skinned lady with
I'm
the
just
pretty
saying everything that look good ain't good for you because they can be on that. And I told you this, Pete. Be on that dance floor in that nightclub doing it. Then when you get, what?
The lights
Ain't
come
got
up.
no energy. And you was just dancing. What happened? The lights get brighter. I mean, that's the biggest life lesson. I
Can
get
I
to
just say I
know
love
a
our
person, be their friend
Oh
before I
God.
start jumping into a bed. You know what I'm saying? That's the biggest life lesson for
so no one
me.
night stands.
Now I don't do them no more. No.
I don't do that.
No.
I ain't never
That's
did
what I'm
that.
trying to say. Everything that look good ain't good for you. You gotta get to know a person. Ask Peirrce how long we didn't just jump in it,
Cause you
Mm.
couldn't.
huh?
You tried, but you couldn't.
Ooh.
Mm,
Uh, what after 30
mm,
days? Yeah.
mm.
But
We
the
learned a
time
lot
went
about
Right.
into
them.
it, y'all. I'm keeping it real. Like,
Ain't nothing wrong with it.
that's the
Oh
biggest life
gosh.
lesson because you'll keep going through and through and through and through. I don't want to be counting me. I can honestly say that I can count on both hands, and I ain't used up all the fingers on who I've, been with. I didn't want to
Really?
be that person just running through a whole bunch of people. Can't do that. After I
Mm-mm.
went through two or three, I got tired, man. You get tired. Everything that look good ain't good for you.
Great lesson right there.
Love it. Kilani.
Wow. Um, life lesson. After you saying after you come out and transition all that stuff. Um, biggest life lesson is you'll really discover like the true you. You come into contact with who you really are. And I'm not just saying that as it relates to like sexual identity and orientation, but you really discover like what kind of morals you have. You discover what type of person you are for real because everything else has been stripped. It's like you're like socially naked in front of everybody. So you get to see you for you. Like you get to really discover who you really are. So that's my life lesson. I realized I wasn't as awesome as I thought I was. And I had to
Good.
make some changes. So
I like it. I like it, Xavier.
What?
Answer the question.
Say it one more time.
What is the biggest life lesson you've learned now that you've come out?
That just because it's kind of similar to like what Smack said that like you shouldn't just be out there messing with everyone basically because what they look like on the outside, not knowing that on the inside it's something different because that person that is the most beautiful thing could take you to a place that you would never get back of your life.
There it is. Damn.
Donna?
Yep. My favorite song, what Chris Brown say, these hoes ain't loyal. And also that you can never rely on. I had a 20+ friend, and my lesson learned by that is they will talk behind your back to another
Mhm.
friend, and that you never thought that they would do, and that's why I'm not their friend no more. That's a life lesson. Can't trust everybody.
Tim?
Mine is along the lines of what Donna was just saying. Just because you're there for a person, just because you love a person, just because you support a person, does not mean that they are going to do the same for you.
So you agree with the
Exactly.
hoes ain't loyal?
No, they ain't.
It's a spinoff.
Hmm.
Donna set it up and I knocked it down.
I
Yeah.
like it. I like it. Peach.
My lesson is finance your truth. You could judge me, you could feel how you want, but you can't take shit from me.
Mm.
Finance your truth.
Yes, I
You
like that.
I'm
stood.
gonna start using that. I'm gonna start using that.
Wait. You stood real heavy
That's
on
a
that ground
shirt.
right
I'll buy
there.
I
that.
love my baby. I like
Finance
that.
the
That's a
truth.
shirt.
Bang
I can't
bang.
wait to use
Yeah.
that on somebody.
That part. Stan, it's on you,
Get a
Blair.
T-shirt.
Yeah, that's a shirt.
We
Oh,
saved the best for last.
Philadelphia Stan,
Get a T-shirt
the Broad Street Beast.
Oh, me?
Stan's in Atlanta.
I'm in
Dan
Atlanta.
was supposed to answer that question this week.
in
Well, I do come
Atlanta.
to Philadelphia sometime.
Oh, we know.
Oh, okay, it's another show. Um, my thing.
Next time
Stan
you're in
writing
Philly,
that down. Stan writing that down. Look at him. He gonna have
next,
t-shirts on Friday.
Yeah, we need those
That's right.
T-shirts.
next time you're in Philly, Stan, hit me up. We'll hang out.
I'll be there pretty soon, actually.
All right, let me know in advance. We'll hang out.
Okay, for real. Um, my thing is, I don't put faith. Don't put your faith in human beings, and that's really what it
Nope.
is.
All the way around.
Don't put your faith in people, and put your, that, and that's really what it is. People are so disappointing. Uh, People, we put, we look at people, we admire them, and they can be so disappointing. And I learned, my life lesson was not to put faith in people. I take you for
Right.
as you are, and if you come up short to me, I'm not disappointed because I expected the worst, but hope for the best. So, and that's really what it is. Just, put all our faith in ourselves, and don't put
Yep.
everything in other people, and put expectations, because people will disappoint you and let you down.
So, in other words, don't put too many eggs in a basket.
I mean, right, and exactly. Don't
Put
do
some in
that.
the frying pan.
I mean, like I said, we can all do things. I can come to Philadelphia, and I know places to go, Broad Street and certain areas around Philadelphia. That's some
That's what
people
we
tell
wanted
you
to hear about this week.
some people tell you don't go, but those are choices I make to go if I go. So if something happens, I can't blame people for that. But my whole point is,
Well, I suggested it because from the show, you told me the type of people, you told me the type of women that you like.
right,
And I know a lot of those women. And I know life nice places to hang out,
yeah,
you know, where you could chill with them and we can hang out as men. So that was why I spoke up about you coming to Philadelphia.
okay, and you know what, and that's so cool, and I really look forward to that, and I like networking with people, and like you say, we're coming out there. I'll be out there pretty soon, and um, I'm looking forward to it. But to get back to things is, I don't put my faith, just like if we come to Philadelphia. If I'm not, I wouldn't depend on you to make or break my trip there. You
You're not
know
supposed to.
exactly. So I wouldn't put my faith in you making or breaking my trip. Hey, you say, hey, let's hang out, let's do this. And if we go somewhere I don't like, I can't blame you for that. You know, one thing I love about myself is I love myself because I'm not gonna get disappointed with nothing that happens.
We'll make
Because
the
no matter
best
what
out of it.
happens,
That's all it is.
I'm gonna enjoy it no matter what. I'm not. I
We
can go
should
to
all do a panel brunch at one of Tim's shows. Everybody go support Tim.
okay.
Yeah, I would do it.
Hey, you
Oh,
know what?
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah,
been
I
to
would
one of
like
them
that.
kind of shows before. I've always been interested, but I be trying to figure out like when they be happening, how they go. But I do want to go to one.
Okay. Well,
Keep me
right now I'm
posted.
off
I'll
stage.
definitely be there. And
Right.
I got, like I said, I got a couple of friends. But in fact, when I come to Philadelphia, we come to Philadelphia, but we always want to go to New York or
Stan
Atlantic
trying to
City.
make sure you don't put out your he coming.
Okay. So let's try to start wrapping this up
All
and
right.
asking our few little questions. We're gonna do a part two of this show because we gotta
Yeah.
ask our next questions. The questions that we
Okay.
ask ourselves. This was kind of awesome. So let's just wrap it up with what we learned. For me, after listening to everybody's story, I learned that I personally don't give a shit whether my parents or anybody accepts me as long as I can live my
Right.
life and afford it in peace and create my own personal family. What did
Exactly.
I agree.
any of you guys walk away with? What did you learn tonight? That was my
learned
revelation.
I learned tonight from Stan that
That we all got
there
issues.
are trans men dating other trans men and
Yep.
got babies.
Yep.
Because they're gay men.
Okay, well.
Not necessarily.
I mean,
Well,
you got
see,
people
this
that
is
are
I
confusing.
associated.
learned
I'm
a
Everybody
confused.
different.
If
I
two
learned a
men are
different
dating, they're
hold
gay or
on.
one is bisexual.
I learned a different perspective also about our trans community.
Yep.
That there's different like levels to
Ages.
it.
Yeah.
Why people that was a very good question that Kalani asked, and then when she answered it, I got to see it on a different scale. No, feel like I changed my perspective on why I thought people became trans. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
So I appreciate that because I'm trying to learn more about a community that I advocate for heavily. You feel me?
Mm,
I say what I
Yeah.
learned is
we
Tim made
appreciate
a
that.
good point when he said that just because two trans men or two trans women date each other, it's still like pretty much having a regular relationship because
Yeah.
they might not carry the same thing down there. It's just their outer
Mhm.
core that makes them look different. I
It's
never
not
really thought of
about
it like that. I kind of had questions on that also.
it's
Like,
not
what do
about what's downstairs though.
you? It's the outer core.
It's about what their orientation is. I can identify as a man, but I might be a gay man. I'm a trans man, right? Imagine me being a
Yeah.
trans man. I just might be gay.
So you're gonna go to another trans
I
man.
don't have to be a heterosexual trans person. I could
But
be a gay trans person. I could be whatever I want.
and see, that's the whole thing. You're not putting yourself in a category, and that's the cool part because you don't have to try to make me understand who you are. And that's what we try to do. We always try to make people understand who we are and why we do what we do. And we sit and there is the issues we have because I learned a long time ago. I can't try to explain to anybody why I like what I like, and and then why would it matter to you?
Yeah. Well, we gotta understand
You
that's
know
your
what I'm
life.
saying? So
We should
what
respect
you
it.
like is what
That's
you
it.
like, and so you don't have to sit back and get any kind of
Don't
validation
have
from
to
me
understand.
because, and if you got to get validation from me, then you got questions about what you do.
Well, I think people
Yeah,
try
but
to
I don't have to
yeah,
understand
some
it. I
Exactly.
should
Just
some
respect
let
it.
people try
stand
to
be stand.
understand it for financial reasons, like nonprofits and stuff. That's why you have all of these categories because nonprofits receive funding based off of who they help,
And that's
who they
fine.
serve.
And that's how that should be. But if staying in public life, I'm just let me be what me explaining myself to you is not gonna make your life no better. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna make your life no
Everybody
better.
have a beautiful night.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's why I'm gonna start
All right, let
co-signing some
everybody say
social.
what they learned so we could go on.
Oh,
Kalani, what did
I
you
can I say I
go ahead,
learned
Kana?
I learned that I went from 60% tonight to about 65. Okay, I learned. Have a good night.
What about you, Kalani? Where you at?
That I'm in a community and I don't know nothing. Because I didn't know anything about
It's a
transgender.
lot of
I don't know any. I still don't. But I guess that's a. I gotta get educated.
we got so much going on.
Tell
So
what you learned.
I learned maybe I still know a lot about the community. I just need to learn about the new stuff, the all the new categories.
Yeah,
It's that once they
yeah.
separated, once they separated all of us from under one flag, it got real complicated.
right.
It got real complicated, like real quick. So I mean, I'm learning, and I'm enjoying the process.
Okay.
I don't know nothing.
What about Andres? What did you get from it? You like, you know everything, Andre.
I learned I learned these hoes ain't loyal. Nah, I mean I learned a lot tonight. Smack definitely hit a couple things real deep, but I think the most important thing I learned is that we have a responsibility as parents to love our kids and to not stress so much on what they choose or who they choose to love, but to teach them love.
To be safe.
Okay. Well, I think we got it. Everybody shared what they learned, what they didn't get. I thought this was very informative.
I like our tonight show.
Very good show tonight.
And I can't wait to hear these other questions because I know we really gonna be like,
Yeah. Because Smack about to take y'all. I'm going to get
Let
serious. Y'all
let's
already
go
seen
a
my
little
questions.
deeper for our second questions, you guys.
Yeah, mine,
yeah,
mine is serious. It's really
Yeah,
serious.
mine's serious too.
As
okay.
a matter of fact,
Oh,
it's revolving around a court case that's going on in my hometown right now.
Oh wow.
Somebody in court.
Okay. So next week we're
It's,
gonna do part two of
Next week.
the questions we ask ourselves, and then after that, I want y'all to start thinking on the next topic because after we do that second part two, we're gonna talk about the map community and us. Should they be a part of it?
The who?
the what
The
community?
MAP community.
I'm about to
What's
Should
look.
that?
they
What's that?
I'm about to look it up.
What's
I
the
told
what?
map?
you I don't know nothing.
Are they?
I'm
Are
going
they?
back to
Are
be
they?
head of
Are they?
section. It's
They
too
better
much.
not be gay people who use maps.
Map
If they
community.
are,
Oh
What is it?
wow. Oh oh
What?
hell no.
Send it to me,
what
Andre.
is it?
Send it to me,
Oh,
Andre.
I'm
What
sorry.
is it?
Yo, y'all need to look that up.
I'm looking it up
He
now.
said, "Why did I look
Well,
that
damn.
up?" Democracy
What?
is
A
I don't
democracy-based
see
community for
nothing.
minor attracted persons to give and receive peer support.
they are trying to become a part of our community.
I
After
be
we do
gay.
part
Oh
two,
no.
that's the next subject. Should the map community be a part of the LGBTQ plus? And why
no
not?
Oh my
way.
God.
This
No,
this
we
is
don't
some
need no
Donald
more.
Trump stuff.
Now I'm even more
We don't need no.
confused. Like,
Yeah.
child,
First,
And it'll be in
ain't this
black.
a charge?
my head hurts.
Well, you have to look up the map community and find out what they're doing and what their initiatives are, and should they be under our umbrella.
I mean, but this ain't a charge. Like, what is this?
Is the map
It's just like
a acronym for something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
it's not an act. I mean, yeah, it's minor attracted people. Like it got like this got to be like a Catholic priest community right now. Like maps are persons who are attracted to minors younger than 15 years old who are
Then they gonna want animals coming
Oh
into our
no, that's
community.
not
They want
going
everything.
on. Nah.
this term includes anything under nepophiles, pedophiles,
But why would they?
hebophiles. What the fuck is a hebephile?
Nah, that's not
They
happening.
already think we
No,
pedophiles.
Okay.
I can answer that
Next
Listen.
now.
show.
All
You
right,
got
Peach.
me
You start
mad.
Be
Peach. You
Right.
starting
prepared for the
something, Peach.
questions.
No,
You starting
Okay.
something,
they
Peach.
already think that about this community
And
anyway.
that's
So
why
no,
we gonna have that
Yeah.
discussion. But
that's
next week
crazy.
is part
Okay.
2 of this show. So I think we learned a lot. This was a great in black show. Have your questions ready for next week, and
Think
I'll
deep.
see y'all next Tuesday. We're gonna be in black.
Everybody, good
Good
night.
night, everybody.